Okay, all right. So as I was saying, I'm from India, and a quick background about myself is that I also started off as a software engineer many years ago. I was in the IT industry for about 25 years. I used to do IT delivery for banking clients. My last job was with this organization called as Capgemini. Some of you may have heard of Capgemini. It's a global organization. And then I quit from the corporate in 2017. And since then, I have been doing work in the space of gender diversity, helping students and women to kind of pursue their careers. I do a lot of trainings, leadership development workshops. I do a lot of writing. Of course, I pick up projects which are in the gender space. For example, currently I'm consulting with this organization here called as Aspire for Her, where I'm running a program to upskill about 5,000 girls and boys from economically weaker section of the society and looking at eventually placing them in jobs. So in India, it's really hard for someone who comes from an economically weaker section to actually get educated. And I'm sure that's the case in many other countries, and then to get them jobs. So that's what I'm driving, along with my passion of speaking and networking is a topic that I have done. It's almost become my signature topic. I love to do it because people get it very wrong. And so I try to make use of opportunities like this to tell people what actually is networking. I'm glad that I got invited by LUNARHACKS for this. So let us get started. I will just, sorry, I have to share my screen and I'm here. Which screen are you able to see now? Are you able to see? Should I be networking screen?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let me just close everything else so that there is no. Yeah, should I be networking? That's the topic for today. And I'm not going to answer this question for you all. You will answer this question for yourselves as the session progresses or before the end of the session. So let's do something fun now. Let's get to know each other. Some of you may know each other because you might be the same school, or because of whatever interactions you already had on the Discord channel, or a part of this hackathon today. But let's get to know each other in a little different way now. Okay, so hopefully all of you can rename yourselves. So go to your window, and there are 3 dots over there on the right side. And there's an option called as rename. Hopefully you're able to see that. Go and rename yourselves. Your names are there, whatever they are, but rename yourselves to the starting alphabet of your name, followed by HACKS, hacks. So let me do that. I'm calling myself, sorry, I'm calling myself here N hacks. So now you can see my name. Oh, sorry, I think I went and renamed somebody else. Okay, I renamed Soumya. Maybe Soumya, you can rename yourselves. Where is my rename? Okay, my rename is here, which is N hacks. Yeah, you can see my name has changed. Soumya, you can go and change yourselves to S hacks. If you can, yeah, I can see that Aline has also done it. A hacks, yes, all right. This is great. I'm stopping sharing for a while, and let's see how the screen is looking. Can we have everyone try the rename option? It's not very difficult. Shukti, Jenny, Nahima, Dennis, Lily, can we all try the rename option? And let's see how the screen is looking, right? How's it looking? What is it kind of telling you? You suddenly have people who are looking alike. All you can differentiate is just with one alphabet. Otherwise, everyone seems to be a hack, right? why am I asking you to do this, anonymous, right? I'm asking you to do this exercise because this is how we all look when we go into a crowded space. So you're all aspiring data scientists, computer engineers, etc. You all come from different universities. You're doing whatever courses you are doing, but when you actually end up at a career fair, you have, even in your own university, if there is an option, for placements, internships, etc. Beyond the name that you carry, maybe the name of the university, it could be powerful, I'm not denying it, the course that you're doing and the grades that you are scoring, you are all alike. We are all alike. How does someone differentiate between this A hacks and the other A hacks? And there are 3, 4, my God, 5, 6, 7 A hacks. How do you differentiate between each other, right? Just the name, just the CV, just the college does not make a differentiator. So I want to give you a story. So when I was working in this organization, Capgemini, of course, we used to go to campus to hire students for our next year's projects. But suddenly, I think we got a new project and we were asked to refer freshers. So we thought, okay, we didn't have the time to go into a university, do the interviews and bring in freshers. Let's just have some referrals going and then we'll pick up the numbers that we needed. On day one, can you all guess what is the number of applications we received as referrals? So referrals means I refer someone that I know and somebody else who's working at Capgemini refers, some student looking for a job who's just graduated. So how many applications do you think we received on the first day? Some number. Can you put it out on the chat? Any number? Any guess? 100. Okay, 300. All right. 1,000. 500. I'll take one more number. 10,000. Okay, that NHACS seems to be really going wild, right? So I think the closest is NHACS, which is 10,000, which is also not close to the number. On day one, we got 50,000 referrals. 50,000 referrals. And then we closed the applications because we didn't know what to do with these referrals. And that's the reality. Out there, the competition is like that. And can you imagine and in India, and I'm sure it's the case across, you have campus placement. So you have companies going to campus and offering placements. So you have still so many students who either have not got placed or they're not happy with the job that they got from campus, either the role, the company, the salary, or whatever it is. That is the competition that we all have. There is always a difference between the supply and the demand. Now, what is supply? Supply is the supply of talent, which is you all. There's just too much of supply. And the demand, which is the demand for talent, which is the organizations that are hiring, or even if you want to start something on your own, in terms of, I know there's no dearth of problems that you can try to fix it by starting something on your own, but still, the amount of talent which is out there, you will never be able to absorb all of them into your organization. And that is why when you see a room full of AEKN hacks, it becomes very difficult. Out of that 50,000, even if I want to hire 1,000, how do I sift it out? What is the differentiator between an A and an E hacks? Correct? So let us now do another exercise of renaming. By now you've gotten used to renaming. This time, you of course rename it back to your name, but you precede your name with an adjective which starts with the starting alphabet of your name, right? And then after that, you put in a short description, something like an elevator pitch. I hope all of us understand what is an elevator pitch. It's something that will describe you in 30 seconds, right? Here you have a set of, say, about 50 characters that is available to you. So how do you want to describe yourselves to somebody else? So let me do it so that you kind of get. I rename myself this time by saying I call myself Networking Neerija, because that's an adjective I would like to use for myself. And I will put her rising award winner 3 times or something like that. Okay. Here. So an adjective that precedes your name, it starts with the first alphabet of your name, and then you kind of describe yourselves in such a way that people get to know you much better than just the A and the B and the C. Can we quickly do this, please? So now at least I will know who's the A and the B and the C. Quick, we have a lot to cover, and I know that you all also want to go back and do your hacks, or maybe stick a small nap, maybe. Amazing, Amelie, fantastic. All right. Do you want to also put this, description after Amelie, if you wish to? It would be good. Scholarly Savannah. And let me. I'm trying to make out the description. Approachable Ariel. I like food. Fantastic. Creative Hannah. Great Grace, award-winning writer, proficient. Maybe I'm not able to see it fully, but that's okay. At least I know that. Outgoing Olive, okay. Scholarly Savannah, clarinetist of 10 years. Okay, is that a school, college? Clarinetist, maybe. Can we all do it? Are we struggling to get the words? Are we struggling to get the rename option? Exuberant Eileen, eagle-eyed Estelle. Someone who plays the clarinet. Okay, all right. So yeah, I didn't understand that, but good. I learned something today. Astute Angeline, trying to survive IB. Amazing, Emily. That's good. Awesome, Emily. I play the violin, Daring Denise. Okay, good. Can we have LM hacks rename themselves Mindful Martha Film Enthusiast? Marketing Neela has conducted marketing. I can't see the rest, but it's okay, good. Great Grace. Okay, we saw that. Noteworthy Naomi, efficient programmer. And we have a few others, and I will let you rename yourselves. Now, isn't this much better? So when you go into a crowded room and you see, okay, we have amazing Emily trying to survive IB, and we have a noteworthy Naomi, efficient programmer. Isn't this a little more better in terms of the introductions that you've done? So in those 50,000 CVs, I saw an amazing Emily, and I saw an eagle-eyed Estelle, and I see someone who says efficient programmer, and somebody says, I'm a film enthusiast. I say, I think I would like to meet these people. Maybe let me call them for the interview. Correct? All right. So I want you all to do one other exercise, making you do a lot of work, but you will like this exercise, which is that find, say, one person, because we're running out of time. Let me just do for one person in this group whose description, right, the way they have described themselves, both the adjective and the small description that they have put for themselves, attracts you. So yes, those who have not yet renamed, please do it now because there's an activity based on this. So whoever attracts you because of the name, the adjective as well as the description, and go and do a private chat with them. So you can go into the chat window and you can privately chat with them. I want you to go and do a private chat and tell that person, share with that person on private chat with what is that dream job that you wish to get after your college. I know some of you described as I want to be a software engineer, etc. If you can make it a little more specific to say, okay, I'm looking to, join an Amazon as this or whatever, dream job. This is my dream job. As soon as I complete my college, my graduation, this is the dream job that I'm looking at. Or if you want to start something on your own, just privately chat with the person who you get attracted to, one person. Can we do that? I'll give you a few seconds to do that. When you're done with it, just put up your hand saying, I'm done with it. And I know that there is an S who has not renamed, and probably it's okay. Somebody might find that itself very cryptic to say, okay, Why is it this person has not renamed herself? Let me go and chat up with her. Possible. And there's a dot, and that's also quite cryptic. Let's see. I will give, it'll be great if you can say, okay, hands up, because it's a quick thing that we are asking you to do. And then we will find out something after this chat is over. So Eileen has completed, fantastic. Outgoing Olive has completed. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds. Eagle-eyed Estelle is completed, as you. Angeline is completed. Mindful Martha is done with it. Fantastic. Awesome, Anne-Marie. I like art. Has completed it. Cynthia Soumya has completed it. Some nice conversations going on there privately. Scholarly Savannah has completed it. Okay, I hope everyone has made an attempt at this. Thank you. You can all lower your hands. It's not letting me raise my hand. Okay, Grace. All right, you can all lower your hands. Thank you. I will request Eileen to bring up a poll now. Okay. We want to know something after this exercise. We want to know something from you all. So if Eileen can bring up a poll. Are you able to, or should I? Because I don't know, I'm the host.
I can try. It says,
Because I don't see poll option here.
Is there a poll on everyone's screen now? Oh, wait,
my screen doesn't have a poll. And I'm the host, so the best person to see a poll is me, but it's okay if you're not able to see. We can just do it even otherwise. So the questions that we had on the poll were, going to be, so how many people reached out to you? Not about you reached out, because I asked you to reach out to only one person, and you may have reached out to more than one because you found a lot of people attractive here. The question that I'm asking is, how many people reached out to you? Because maybe, no one reached out to you, so 0. Maybe one person reached out to you, 2, 3, 4, 5, or more than 5. So can you on the chat box quickly put down how many people reached out to you? And if it's a 0, it's okay. And you don't have to feel anything about it, because it's also very difficult to do this, because while Amazing Amelie is trying to find, say, an eagle-eyed Estelle and say something, somebody is writing to Amazing Amelie and it could get confusing. So it's perfectly fine, but be a sport and tell us how many people reached out to you on the chat box. And let me see. Okay, we had one. Everyone, okay, there's someone who had 2 people reach out. Anyone who had 0, it's okay. If it was 0, doesn't matter. 2, okay, great. All right. Okay, Grace and Eagle, Sleeping Eagle did not have anyone reach out. Okay, all right. So now the question, right? For example, let's see, we've got Approachable Ariel having 2 people reached out. Amazing Amelie and Daring Dennis had 2 people reach out. So the ones who reached out, for example, to the person who's called herself Daring Dennis. Why did you reach out to Dennis? The 2 people who reached out to Dennis. What made you, get attracted to her? Want to tell us on the chat? You can actually unmute and speak also if you wish to. The 2 people who reached out to Denise, do you want to tell us why her and not somebody else? What was it that attracted you? Oh, okay. They play the violin and I used to play the cello. Fantastic. Okay, great. We had music in common. Fantastic. Now there you see what attracts people to you. Okay. How about people who reached out to Amelie, Amazing Amelie, trying to survive IB? You're having the same struggles, is it? So you decided, let's chat up with Amelie. Anything that you wish to say about why did you reach out? Same struggles, right? Fantastic, right? I relate to the fact that she's surviving to IB. Great, yeah. Now, those of you who had no one reach out to you, you may want to reflect to say, why? Because this is a place where probably no one knows anyone. And the only way they decided to connect was because of that adjective, because of that description that you put for yourselves. And either there was commonality, looks like there was commonality in terms of music, in terms of struggles, or it could be, did someone reach out because they were very curious about this person? Did anyone reach out to anyone because they felt, wow, I want to know more about that person? Anything like that? Anyone? Instead of commonality, instead of struggles and anything else that made you reach out to the person that you reached out? Exuberant, it's such a cool word, absolutely, right? So just that, sometimes okay, I don't understand, right? I asked you clarinet and I don't understand. So I say, okay, what is it? Tell me, okay, right? I like food. So I'm saying, how could you even describe yourselves as that? Can you describe yourselves as I like food? Maybe I wouldn't have thought of it, right? So the point that I'm trying to make here is, again, in this crowded space, and now I can bring up my screen. In this crowded space, the only way to put yourselves uniquely, to be different from the rest of the people, is your elevator pitch. And I hope everyone knows what an elevator pitch is. That is, in the good old days, and I think now we are back to getting into elevators, but for a long time, we didn't, want to get into an elevator. If you gotten into an elevator and the CEO of an organization is also in the same elevator, and you want to kind of present yourselves to this person, you have about 30 seconds till the lift takes you or him or her to the floor where they will get off. In those 30 seconds, 40 seconds, how do you introduce yourself so that this person feels, yeah, I need to talk more to this girl who's riding along with me in the elevator? And where is the elevator today? The elevator is all over the place. It is digital today. So I was seeing Discord, and the fact that all of you are on Discord and you were asking questions and all of that, that's your elevator for this hackathon, correct? And each of you has a way to introduce yourselves. I went and looked up in the about the person. You can actually put something there about yourself, but I didn't see too many people having described themselves there. That is your elevator. On your social media, maybe your LinkedIn or whatever social presence that you have, that's your elevator. And that's the pitch. Like we tried this exercise over here. That is how people are going to grab hold of you to say, hey, this person seems quite different. So the elevator, and that's a different class, how to do an elevator pitch, but I'm telling you that you need to practice and be ready with it. Either a small pitch like this or a vocal 30, 40-second pitch for yourselves. You've got to be ready with it because you want to be calling yourselves as that rare entity. What is rare about you? Each of you needs to have something unique about you that is rare. And secondly, not only should you have something which is rare, but you need to be able to present that rarity to the rest of the world so that people would like to know more about you. Okay, so some examples of what elevator pitches shouldn't be. The minute you are in the elevator, say, what do? I do email marketing. And this person says, oh my God, you send that spam. I don't even want to talk to you, right? So your pitches have to be interesting enough for someone to stay on and say, okay, it should not sound like your CV. It has to have a hook. So the person says, oh, really? What is that? I want to know more about it. Or let me, schedule some time with you later so that we can talk more about it. The second thing that I would like to offer to you is that when you do meet people, now let me ask you this question. You did speak to the other person and you said, okay, must have gone ahead and told them about your dream job. Did you ask about the other person's dream job? Did the other person even respond to that? Or you said, okay, I've done my job and end of it. How was that conversation when you did the private chat? Did you ask the other person also, hey, what is your dream job or anything else? Did anyone have a, kind of a question to the other person and seek a response, or you just did a one-way conversation and came back? What did you do? Anybody? One-way conversation, okay, all right. And why was it only a one-way conversation? I asked the other person what their dream job was, which is very mindful of you, Martha. You are kind of living what you said. We both just naturally told each other, okay, Ariel. But Eileen just kind of asked, and I will, I know Eileen has got many other things on her mind, so I kind of pardon her for that. But how many of us really kind of, beyond introducing ourselves, ask the other person, not only for introductions, but something more? So that's what I call as do the tango with the conversations. And I say it has to be an 80-20 rule that you follow when you converse. And for 80% of the time, what do? You listen to the other person. You don't keep talking. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. But you kind of introduce yourselves with a nice, cool elevator pitch. And then the other person also introduces herself or himself. And then you enable the conversation by putting out open-ended questions. What is an open-ended question? So for example, you want to say, are you going to participate in the Lunar Hacks? And the person says no or a yes. Finish. The conversation ended there. Correct. There's no scope for further. And you put out another and another and another question. Or rather, you say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And the other person says, you know what, I signed up for Lunar Hacks, but you know what has happened now? I've got this huge assignment from college. I don't know if your unis also give you too much of work in terms of assignments and projects. And the deadline is just tonight, and I don't think I can go for that. What happens? The other person says, oh, really? What is an assignment all about? Maybe I can help you with it. And then you progress on that conversation. You listen 80% of your time. And I'll tell you why you need to listen for 80% of your time as we get into the topic of networking, because today's topic is networking, and so far I've not touched upon it, right? So let me quickly tell you a story. See, any of my sessions, I always narrate stories from my life, and then I come to, the point. But I thought you will say, okay, at your age, all of this sounds cool, but at our age, it doesn't make sense. So today's stories are all going to be about my daughter, who is going to be 21 by January. So similar age group, a little bit similar to where all of you are, right? So my daughter, her name is Sneha. So I have always been doing these kinds of talks. So when she was in school, maybe her 10th grade or something, I was going out for this one whole day conference where I was going to be speaking, and she had, the day off. So she said she'll join me, she'll come along with me. And I saw her before we left taking some printouts. I was wondering what is it that, she was printing. So she had the previous year just published a short story, a book on Amazon. And the printouts that she was taking was some collateral that she was printing out. What is the book all about, and how can someone find the book on Amazon and things like that? Because she decided that at the conference, she's going to hand over these pamphlets to people, maybe the speakers or the participants who have come, so that her book could kind of get more visibility and probably a little bit more of sales. So that was very cool. I mean, she never asked me about it, but she did it. And she came to the conference and she found the speakers of her own and she handed over the pamphlets. Now, she didn't have too many of them, but whatever she had, she was giving it away. She was telling people, please read my book and go and put out, your comments, your review on the Amazon. And everybody, of course, will oblige, say, yes, I will do as you will do, but one doesn't know how many will do it at the end of the day, right? After a couple of days, she saw that one of the speakers there, who was the CHRO, the Chief Human Resources Officer at a leading e-commerce company in India, had read it, and he had given a powerful feedback. He had said, this doesn't sound like the writing of a 10th grade student. So some really good feedback. So she was very thrilled with it. Now, this is, I think, 2018, probably, when this happened. Now, let's fast forward to 2020, when all of us were living a life in the lockdown, and we all had to do online shopping. So here in India, we were trying to, shop for groceries, etc., on this particular e-commerce platform that I spoke about, right? This person was the CHRO. And, it was very difficult, for e-commerce sites also to kind of accept all orders and process it and deliver it, within the required time frame, because the traffic was too much, the inventory was not coming their way, etc. So our requests were not getting serviced for days together. So I thought, let me, because I had shared numbers at that event. I was a speaker, he was a speaker, so I had his card and all of that. I said, let me WhatsApp this person and say, okay, can you tell us how long this will take? What's happening in the back end? So I said, I'm Nirja, and we had met at that event. We were both speakers. So he said, of course, I remember you. Your daughter writes very well. So how did he remember me? He remembered me because of my daughter and because my daughter writes very well. He didn't remember about what I had spoken or, I speak well or anything like that. And that is how networking works. Look at that connect. He's remembering my daughter for the writing. And then we came to the point of, the issues, and he was telling me why so many issues. And he said, I will look into it. We will see what is the best that we can do to help you out. So a networking connect from somewhere which was about a book is probably helping us during the lockdown for groceries. That's how networking helps. Okay. So let me talk to you about a term which is called as social capital, which is nothing but networks, the relationships that we all have with each other. It is said that people who are well networked are 3 times more influential than people who aren't. Minimum 3 times. It could be n number of times depending on how well the well is. Okay. So now what does that mean? Does it mean now we are about 22 people here? So does it mean that we have social capital? We are well networked? We are suddenly 22 people being together, right? It's a network eventually. But the term is about the relationships that we have. How well do you know Soumya? Okay. So when you want to go and connect with someone, what are you looking for? You're looking for someone to have some deep subject matter expertise, because you're doing a Python project and you want some help from someone who is good at Python. So you say, okay, let me connect with that person. Or you are, for example, you had a dream job somewhere and you feel that, you can get that if there is someone else who's in that company. So you want to kind of connect with people who are in positions of authority, who are influential, who can make things happen, who can refer you further in case of a need. So just like you want to connect with such people, they also want to connect with you only if you have that kind of subject matter expertise, or you are in a position of authority or something like that. So just being in a network of 100,000 or even 10 people doesn't mean you have social capital. It depends on how well networked you are in terms of what you can offer to the other people in the network. And that is why the definition of networking is, what is it that you can give to the network, to rest of the people in the network? I know now this sounds a little very, very contrasting to what we usually hear, right? We always say it's networks that can get you wherever. So it's always a get. What can I get from a network that we have heard so far? And I'm saying, no, networking is not about getting. Networking is about giving. What is it that you can give to someone, right? It's just like a bank account. Unless you put some money in there, you're not going to get any interest out of it. Now, let's not look at stocks and shares and maybe bitcoins and all of that. Let's look at traditional financial instruments. You put some money in there, you wait for some time, and then there is some return that comes in. Networks are like that. You give something and eventually you will get it back. Let me give again a story on that one, right? So in 2020, when the lockdown happened, my daughter, she was in her 12th grade and her final year board exams were happening. And there was one exam still to be finished and the lockdown happened and they stopped the exams. And there was no clue whether exams will complete, whether she will finish her 12th and, get into college. So there was this organization, Aspire for Her, and all of you should become a part of Aspire for Her. I will put down the link after this, which had started just then. Madhura Dasgupta Sinha is the founder. She started this organization for girls in the age group of 18 to 25 in terms of providing them with any kind of assistance towards intentional careers, financial independence, etc. So she started an ambassador program. Ambassadors are people who kind of spread word around, right, of whatever. And she wanted the word to be spread around. And who will be the best people to spread word around about this organization? People in that age group, right, 18 to 25. She was looking for students in that age group, girls in that age group who will become part of the ambassador program and then do whatever she wanted in that 1 month. So Sneha, my daughter, because she had nothing else to do, lockdown, she kind of signed up for that 1 month ambassador program. And every day they would be given tasks and missions. So how do you spread word around? They made it very, very interesting. They would give a different kind of a task. Using that, you could kind of, further talk about the platform. So she and all the ambassadors were doing that. Mission accomplished at the end of the day. But Sneha, I told you she writes, right? So she went about looking at the social media of this organization. All of us need social media. And she felt that the social media, the content that was going on was not too great. So she went and spoke to the CEO. The CEO is, 1 year older to me. So can you imagine a 20-year-old or not even 20, 18-year-old talking to the CEO and saying that your social media is not too good, but I can do something. I write, so I can actually better the content which is going out on social media. And the CEO said, fantastic. So after that 1 month of ambassadorship, she actually invited Sneha to be part of the core team. So this organization started with 6 college students. And for almost 1 year, it was run only by college students because we felt that if you're servicing 18 to 25-year-olds, you should have 18 to 25-year-olds running this organization because they understand what the audience wants and hence they will curate the programs which is best for this audience. So she brought Sneha onto the core team and she made her a social media strategist. Now, as Sneha was doing social media and she used to write a lot on social media, she started seeing other platforms which she felt could collaborate with Aspire for Her because eventually it is an age of collaboration. You can't just do everything on your own, right? So she saw this organization by name Co-Learn. They had also started around the lockdown period. They were offering online learning services. So she felt it's a great collaboration. Aspire for Her has a community of girls and Co-Learn has a lot of virtual online learning. Why don't you collaborate? So Co-Learn Girls gets a lot of community members and Aspire for Her gets a lot of learning courses that can be offered. So she started looking for alliances like that and brought it. And quickly she was elevated into the role of team lead alliances. This girl has not even finished her 12th standard. Okay. Now, what happened after this was this organization Co-Learn, which Sneha enabled the partnership with Aspire for Her, reached out to Sneha and said, will you join us for an internship? So that's how the receive happens. What was Sneha doing till then? She was giving. She was giving her, ideas around social media. She was giving, and all of this was pro bono effort. She was not getting paid. And I want to say that everything is not about paid internships and paid. Eventually, you should look for fantastic paying jobs. I'm not denying it. But there's also this aspect of giving and learning in the process. And it comes back to you with interest, right? So that is the definition of networking. Now, you want to know, what do I give? The easiest thing to give is introductions. So I told you that 80-20 rule, when you're speaking to someone, listen for 80% of the time? What are you listening for? You're listening for what help can I give to this person based on the challenges that she's telling me, based on the aspirations that she has or he has. Maybe you can help the person with something, or you can suggest, you say, I know someone who can help you with this. I will connect you to that person. That is the easiest form of giving. Introductions. All of us know so many people, right? So be a connector. Start introducing. So you introduce people when you're asked for introductions, or you see two people who are doing different things and you feel that I think these two should get connected because together they can achieve so much more. Or you feel this person can help the other person. So even without being asked, you do those introductions. So again, a story on introductions. Today, there is going to be an event. So I'm part of many networks, right? So I'm part of this network. We call it a community of women solopreneurs. Hi, Vandana. So women solopreneurs, which means that we are all running our entrepreneurship all by ourselves. It's not a large organization or something. It's individuals who kind of offer services. And we're all part of this community. So in this, there is one person who's written a book which has got published recently, first-time author. And there is another person in this community who does a lot of events. She does, she's an MC for many events. You understand MC, master of ceremonies, the person who kind of anchors and events, etc. So this Kavita, who's the master of ceremonies at many events, offered to do like a conversation with Manisha, who's written the book, today at a bookshop, so that the book can get promoted. Help, right? She's just saying, I will help you out. I'm good at this, so let me come, promote your book by just doing a conversation. That is the way you help. Now, Manisha, she put it on the WhatsApp group, which all of us are part of, saying that she was looking for photographers and videographers so that that event can be covered. But, it comes at a cost. All professional photographers are costly. So she said, do any of you know someone who can probably do it at a lesser cost? And I suddenly remembered a few weeks ago, we had my daughter Sneha's college had an ethnic day. Now, I don't know how many of you have ethnic days or days in college. I mean, you have so many days in colleges, right? Ethnic day in India means you wear ethnic wear. So ethnic in India could be a sari, could be a, one of those Indian attires. So girls and boys dress up in all beautiful Indian wear, and then you have whatever you do for the rest of the day. And Sneha sent me a lot of pictures of herself taken on that day. And she said one of her friends is actually wanting to be a photographer. So he actually covered the entire ethnic day event in college. And of course, all these students went and got their photos done so they can use it for their Instagram and things like that. Beautiful pictures, very beautiful thing. So I suddenly remembered the student and I said, maybe he can help. Okay. Maybe he will not, charge too much because he's still a student and just a budding photographer. So I introduced him to Manisha. Now, can you imagine what has happened? Sometimes, the student may never have got an opportunity to actually do, cover book events and, in their own capacity, Manisha and Kavita are at a particular position. Maybe he'll never get that opportunity otherwise. So beyond the little bit of money that he could make, because they would also post all of this on social media, and all of us who are part of this community will also post, because we'll attend the event and we will post pictures and all of that. We'll always give credit to this person, right? Saying that, hey, pictures by so-and-so. It just boosts his profile and his visibility. So do this. The introductions are the easiest, and do it abundantly. Okay. The next thing, and I know that, you may have some questions, but we'll take questions towards the end. Let me finish, some of the material that I came here to share with you. The next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to networking is leave your comfort zone. We always think, why should I do that? Why should I show up at that event? It is not in line with what I want to do, or it is too late in the evening, it's too early in the morning. For example, I don't know how much you thought about participating in this hackathon. I was going through the website and, in the FAQs, they had actually written that you don't necessarily need to know coding, just come and have fun here, which is so beautiful. We were thinking, oh, I don't know how to code now. How will I go and sit in this place? But it's okay. Leave your comfort zone. What is the worst? You will meet some people. You will network with them. You'll learn a few things because we are all offering some kind of tips and tricks. Maybe you'll start coding because of this, right? And that could take you places. So I want to give another story on that. Today's a day of stories, and you'll get to know more about me and my daughter by the end of this session, I think. So my daughter, as I said, she's written a book, right? So I saw it very early in her, the interest to write. So I used to take her to these lit fests. I don't know, you may have it there, literature festivals that happen, where you have authors who come together and there are workshops that happen on writing and promoting, etc. So we have, a Bangalore Literature Fest in India, you have a Jaipur Literature Fest and so on, very, very prestigious events. So I started taking her to these fests so that she can actually sit down in these workshops and learn about writing and things like that. She was much younger, school. So I had to take her. Now, I could have gone and put her into those workshops, which are for kids, younger ones, and gone and sat in a corner because these fests happen in these large 5-star hotels. So I could have sat in a corner and done my own thing. But I thought, let me also sit with her. So it may not have interested me, one, because I may not be, wanting to look at writing. And again, it's for kids, but I sat through. And slowly the writing bug bit me. And I started writing. Okay, so I write a lot of articles, I do a lot of content on social media. And now I'm actually publishing my first book. So I told you my background was IT. Never in my lifetime I thought, oh, I will write something, and I'm not writing a book on IT. I'm writing it on something else. So you don't know what opportunities present yourselves when you leave your comfort zone and show up at these events. Do go, especially if you're all by yourselves. You sometimes always want to look for friends who will tag along with you. But when you go with friends, you're always sticking to your friends, and you may not necessarily go and meet new people or make new connects. And maybe others also who don't want to come and interact with you because you're all close-knit and sitting together in a corner. So all the more reason, if you're all by yourself alone, you need to go to that event. Leave the comfort zone, and especially go to diverse events. It doesn't have to be, okay, I want to do a programming, so I will only go for hackathons and I will only go for tech conferences. Go for a booklet, book kind of an event. Go for a podcasting event. I mean, there is tons and tons of events that happen because it is important for you to build a diverse network. Now, what happens now? You are showing up at an event. Just sitting quiet doesn't help. And this is so very true of, women. Of course, in our generation, we think that the current generation, the Gen Z, all of you are going to be very different. But I do see still a lot of challenge in people speaking up. Just sitting quiet doesn't help. Because, for example, here you're 24 of you. How will I remember all of you after this event? How will someone remember you after this event, right? So one of the tips here is that you've got to speak up and engage, one, with the speakers, two, with the participants. Okay, so one of the things that you should do is do a bit of research about the organization that is hosting the event, research about the speakers who are coming. Sometimes you get to know the participants also, so do some research about them. How does it help? It helps in two ways. So supposing there's a networking break, all right? You get a break to have coffee, tea, or something like that. You go and meet the speaker because you wanted to have a conversation with her. There are 100 people surrounding her. If you, because of your research, you found out, for example, you found out about Neerja, that she's done a TEDx talk and you heard the TEDx talk. You can say, Neerja, I heard your TEDx talk. You can either say it was good or you can say it was not good. It doesn't matter. You don't have to just flatter. As long as you're courteous about it, you're not very rude about it. But the point is that I will be flattered and I will remember you. Say, Soumya is that girl who has heard my TEDx talk, right? Or you can use it in a different way. For example, I'll give you time for questions. You can ask me questions from whatever I have spoken today. But if you say, Nirja, good session today. I also heard your TEDx talk. I want to ask something about that, or I want to ask something about this. Just that reference to what I had done in the past will make me remember you. So tomorrow, if you connect with me on LinkedIn or something like that and say, Soumya, I asked you that question, I will remember you and I will accept your invite as well as remember you forever. So this is how speaking up and engaging helps, and you need to do a little bit of research and prep before the event so that you can make this difference in your conversations with the people. Now you've done all of this. Said, okay, Nirja, you told me, I came out of my comfort zone. I'm attending an event. I've prepped, I've asked the questions, I made some connections. I did the 80-20. I listened a lot of time. Now what? This connection has to last a lifetime. And it is going to last a lifetime only when you nurture that connection. So after you have met the first time, you have to ensure you follow up. So what is the follow-up that you do? When you meet, 3 things that you must do. One is get the other person's phone number and store it. Get the other person's email ID and store it. LinkedIn is a must. I hope all of you are on LinkedIn and not just sitting on LinkedIn. I said, right, speak up. Even on LinkedIn, you need to showcase yourselves. Just sitting quietly on any social media is not going to help you. These 3 things you must do. Or if there is any other platform, I mean, this particular, age group, I don't know how you actually communicate. There may be some other fancy platforms that you're part of. Just kind of exchange that. And then you write to the person, because if the conversation you had with the person, you said that you would help someone in some ways, send that help out. It could be a link to something. It could be a reference to somebody else, introduction. So that's your first follow-up that you do. And then after that, periodically, and I'm not telling you calendarize it every week, every 2 weeks, I'm not saying that. But because you have had a very genuine conversation, you will remember this person. And when you come across another hackathon, you come across another event, or maybe as simple as birthdays, right? All the platforms will tell you this is this person's birthday today. Just call up that person, make it personal. Don't just go on their Facebook wall or Instagram wall and say happy birthday. That everyone does. Make it personal. Call up Eileen and say happy birthday, Eileen. Even that, it's very simple things that you need to do. That's how you nurture your connections for a lifetime and you develop your social capital. As I said, LinkedIn is very, very important. And diversity is the key. So we usually go, okay, fine, we are all from this school, so I will connect with this person. I'm from US and I'm looking forward to joining these kind of unis, I will connect with this person. No, it has to be as diverse as possible. Okay. So on my LinkedIn today, I have last time I saw 27,117 connections. But in 2016, that is 6 years ago, I wasn't even on LinkedIn. So if I started that late and managed 20,000 plus, imagine when you're starting at school, by the time you come to whatever stage in your career, the amount of connections you will have on LinkedIn. And develop a strategy in terms of connecting with new people and connecting with strangers. You have to exercise caution because you have all kinds of people sitting everywhere. But then if you do go right, you go to other places and you know that there could be something which may not go right, and you exercise caution. Similarly, you exercise caution when you are on social media, but you need to connect with strangers. So I have my own strategy. If I go to an event as a speaker, I will connect with everyone. If I attend an event, I will connect with everyone, right? And then I write a lot on social media. So people who engage with my posts, I say, okay, maybe they are people that I must remain connected to. I find some interesting people, I connect with them. And that's how I have developed my large network. So it is important for you to kind of have your own strategy. Do not underestimate the power of the social elevator pitch, because that is your your elevator pitch. In the digital age, it is important for you to have a digital social pitch. Wherever. So if you are getting onto Discord, please ensure now you go back and see how is it that you have described yourselves. If you're going to any kind of a digital platform, on all your social platforms, put out that nice, interesting thing about you so that people will get to know Vandana Sharma beyond just being Vandana Sharma, beyond just being amazing, beyond just being exuberant. Okay. So I started with a story and I will end with a story. How did I get invited to this? So someone, Eileen, I'm forgetting the other person's name, suddenly going blank because we had to woke up very early, connected with me on LinkedIn. How? Either I would have connected with them because they might have seen one of my social media posts and I said, okay, I must remain connected with them. Or they saw something come by and they say, okay, this lady seems to be interesting. Let me connect with them. And then they wrote me an email on LinkedIn and said, we're doing this hackathon. Will you come and do a session for us? So that's how it comes back, right? And I have come out of my comfort zone. I'm doing this session at 6:30. Eileen said, hey, it's going to be too early for you. So it doesn't matter. Because you need to get out of your comfort zone to get anything in life. Forget only networking. And what am I getting out of it? I do want to spread the message about networking, the right way to network. 2, I will never miss out an opportunity when it comes to talking to girls and women about careers. 3, you are all coming from different universities across the globe. And maybe you will like me and you'll say, okay, next time I think we should invite her to, give a talk at our uni or something like that. Who knows? Dig the well before you're thirsty. Eventually, networking is about getting. You will get. But the starting position is not ask. The starting position is give. But the day you want something, you can't start networking, right? When you're thirsty, you can't start digging a well. The well should already be there. So start it today. You're very early in your career. Start it right now in the right ways. And it will eventually help. So thank you for putting up with me. I took a little bit more time than what I thought, but I'm happy to stay on and take questions. I would love for all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn credential. If you don't have a LinkedIn, go create it because it is important that you have a LinkedIn presence. That is definitely a professional network that you have to be part of. And on the chat box, I will definitely put the website of Aspire for Her, because that's a platform that girls should be part of and utilize whatever it has to offer. And happy to take questions. Any questions? I told you, speak up. Thank you. You learned. I'm glad. What was your favorite experience so far? What's a piece of advice you would give your younger self? Okay, let me take those questions, right? My favorite experience so far in terms of networking, I'm assuming is the question. So many, but for example, I can say that I've been in IT for 25 years. And after that, I went to head a not-for-profit foundation. After that, I went to work at a college. And usually in colleges and universities, you need to have a specific kind of a background. You should have done a PhD or, you should have that academic background to get a position in universities. I don't have that. So what happened was and I'm part of many WhatsApp groups, and I don't know, some of you may not be part of WhatsApp, but I'm part of many WhatsApp groups. And on one of the groups, there was a message which came in saying that one of the colleges here, National College, a very well-known college here in Bangalore in India, had started, and this was a few years ago, had started a new course, a course on data science. So we didn't have any undergraduate degree in data science, till then. And I found it very interesting. And secondly, my daughter also wants to pursue data science. So I thought, okay, this seems sounding interesting. I had just then finished off my corporate career and all of that. So there was the name of this person who was behind, starting these courses on that WhatsApp. So I went to LinkedIn and I found this person. I connected with him. And then I said, I'm very curious to know about these new courses. I would like to speak to you. So he invited me to the college. And I told him, see, I can help you because my starting line is always about help. I told him, this is a new course. So you will need a lot of help in terms of getting the right faculty, getting some new projects and internships, etc. I'm very well connected. So I can help you. Reach out to me. So he said, okay. And then after a few days, he called me back and he said, you know what, we're going to create a position for you in our college. Not only for this course, but for all the courses which are there. They titled it Director Relationships, basically building relationships with companies so that the industry experts could come and help us in the college to review the curriculum, suggest changes to the curriculum, bring in new courses, etc. And I got that job. A role which didn't exist was created just because I chose to connect with the person, network with the person, chose to give something and see how it helped me. So this is one of the interesting things that happened in my life. Okay, when did you start realizing how networking is so important? So I think throughout my life, I have been a helper, right? We do it. I think as humans, we have a very helpful tendency. So I've helped in my school days, teaching maths to I was always very good at maths. So teaching maths to, my friends or things like that. So the helping attitude always was there. And I think I saw it coming back to me. Even when I was at work, I would help people in so many ways. And I saw how it is actually coming back to me without really thinking of it as networking. And then I started intentionally networking. I said, okay, and this is another story, right? I landed up at a conference. So till then, till 2016, I would only go for conferences that were organized by my company, tech conferences, and they would send us. So in 2016, my organization asked me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break, right? So women who have taken a career break find it very difficult to restart their careers. So they said, okay, put out a recommendation in terms of how do we hire these women. So I did some research and I found that there are some platforms that are only for women on a career break. So I put that recommendation because I had researched, I had signed up on that platform, though I was not on a career break. So they invited me to a conference which was for women on a career break. So I left my comfort zone and I showed up for that conference. Well, I didn't have to, right? Because I was not on a break. And there at that conference, I saw so many different kinds of diverse speakers come and speak. Till then, I had never heard this kind of diversity in thought because I was always going to tech conferences. So, the same kind of people come and the same thought process is there. Suddenly here, it just opened up my mind to say, why is it that I'm not thinking so differently? And then I slowly started connecting with people. That was the intentional, way of connecting. Say, okay, I need to connect with him. I need to connect with her, people from diverse backgrounds. And that's how, the actual intentional networking started. I can go on with questions. I don't know if there is an end time for this session, but I have to go. Okay, Hannah, how do you get confidence and energy to network actively? So see, when I told you, right? When you don't have an end goal, people have to give something to me because I'm giving my time and, I'm helping them. When you don't have an end goal to say, I need 100 people in my LinkedIn after a month, you will like it. Because the passion is about giving what your expertise is, right? To help someone. Why is LUNARHACKS doing this? I'm sure they're not getting anything in terms of monetary value, maybe. Like, why did Sneha go and do it on Aspire for her? She's still working 2.5 years. I told you the first 1.5 years was just voluntary effort. But the amount of learning she got, the amount of exposure she has and the connects she has built. Tomorrow, she's going to finish graduation in May 2023. There'll not be any dearth of people that she can reach out to, or people will reach out to her saying, hey, Sneha, why don't you join our organization? So just the giving part and how it enables the rest of the people kind of keeps me going to say, hey, if I can do this, let me do this, right? Doesn't take too much from us. Okay. Besides LinkedIn, what other social network do you think is great for connecting with people? Any social. LinkedIn for sure is a platform that you need to be. Today, I think Instagram and all are catching up. But the other thing that I would say is become part of networks. Like, for example, I told you I'm in a community of women solopreneurs because that's how I kind of present myself. If you want to be a data scientist, there are a lot of forums about data scientists, women in data, women in product. Become part of those and then start doing some things around there. Volunteer for something, speaking opportunities, conducting an event, etc., etc. And that's also another way to kind of expand your network. Oh, great. I just love Dennis. And that tells me that I can also maybe put out my LinkedIn over here. This is the way to do it, right? Invite people to connect with you on whatever platforms that are there. Fantastic. I think people have started learning and implementing. Even before you go out, I had said 3 things you have to do. Take your phone number, take the person's email ID, and take their LinkedIn. And we have already started doing that. Fantastic. Yes. And that's me. And for sure, I'm going to connect with Grace right now. So I don't know if some of you saw it, but one of the things that I did was I went to the LUNARHACKS website. I saw there were a lot of people supporting this event, right? A lot of volunteers that you had. I tried to find them on LinkedIn. I tried to find them on Instagram, and I tried to connect with them. So that's another thing that, you should do, to say, okay, these are the people connected with this platform, and let's connect with them even before the event. Thank you. All right, I don't see any more questions. And I will hand it over to Eileen now. I hope everyone connects with me on LinkedIn.
I think there were a couple of questions above that you might have
Please read it out in case I've missed it out.
Okay, yeah. What's a piece of advice you'd give to your younger self? Did you answer that?
Okay, all right. So I think we have to be a little more flexible. I had to be a little more flexible is what I would think. When I say flexible, it means that I always thought IT, and so always looked for IT jobs, always said, okay, this is not related to IT. But you know what? You need to be flexible in terms of your approach to anything in life. Okay, fine, you want an IT job, but why don't you start? Like, for example, my daughter wants to be a data scientist, but she did social media strategists, she did alliances, she did all sorts of books, she wrote books, she did this volunteers here and there. Eventually, she will become a data scientist for sure. So be a little flexible in terms of the kinds of roles, the kinds of activities, the kinds of platforms, the kinds of things that you do, because it will add up and it will just enhance you as a person. So I don't know how many of you read my LinkedIn post, where I was talking about LUNARHACKS Hackathon, where I'm going to speak. There is a concept called as a T-shaped individual. The letter T, so the horizontal of the T and the vertical of the T. The vertical of the T denotes the depth of expertise you have in whatever you wish to do. Data, depth of expertise. Software programmer, depth of expertise, right? But the horizontal of the T talks about the breadth of experience you have. So are you a team player? Can you actually problem solve? How creative you are, etc., etc. So people look for someone who's actually T-shaped and not just an I-shaped. And there's a saying that the horizontal of the T has to be as wide as you can get. The depth will always keep coming. So bring in the flexibility to say, that's what I would think, because I have arrived in life very late. I was only looking at IT. It needed me to go to that conference in 2016, close to 24 years after my career started, to realize that why am I only so narrow in my thinking? So that's what I would tell my younger self and all of you. Any other questions that I missed out?
Okay, so I think I saw one that said, how do I get better at networking if I'm shy and get tired in social situations?
Right. So I told you, right? Networking is about giving, and networking is not about speaking. So I get this question, I'm an introvert, I can't talk, I don't know how to start the conversation and all of that. So I said, build a good elevator pitch. That is important, regardless of whatever you want to do. How do you introduce? And you can be introducing in any, it doesn't have to be a professional place, right? Even in a social place. So build that. The minute you have practiced and rehearsed, and it doesn't come automatically, you need to rehearse and ensure that your elevator pitch is very good. Ask your friends, how does it sound? Do you think people will really get interested if I give a pitch like this? That is something which you have to invest on, okay? The confidence will automatically come when you deliver that introduction of yourselves. And then it is about just asking questions to hear from the other person. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to really talk too much unless that person is asking you something because that person also attended and you've just talked and will say, okay, now I should ask open-ended questions to this person. So it's okay. It's a nice way of, the conversation flowing ahead. But from your side, you only need to get to know the person. So you don't have to be, talking about yourself too much after that elevator pitch. So introverts actually do this well because they automatically have this ability to listen. They don't want to keep talking. So the confidence comes when you have practiced. And I tell this, right? So now, for example, I did this session, which is an hour and a few minutes, more than an hour. I have delivered this talk many, 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 many times. It's almost the same set of slides, but stories are always different. I pick out stories from my life, my daughter's life, depending on who the audience is so that they relate to the stories. Okay. And I practice. I at least do 2 practice sessions before I come and deliver a talk. Despite the fact that I've done this n number of times and I can just walk through. But I will do at least 2 practices to ensure that I'm within time, to ensure that this may not be proper. It just gives me additional confidence that I can just, So people who you see are doing so well, they just don't do it like that. There's a lot of practice behind it. Confidence just comes when you practice.
All right, that should be all the questions in the chat.
Thank you so much. And maybe I will also, I was just recording onto the cloud. So you will find it on the cloud and you also anyways have it on your local computer. So thank you and good luck. Course for the hackathon and for whatever you wish to do. I wish you all get your dream jobs and I hope you all remain connected to each other. If you could not get time to exchange numbers, please go to your first thing I want you to do is go to Discord and update your profile there with something about yourself and then start conversing with people over there and connecting with them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us at such an early hour for you.
I had a good time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. So I will give you back host